Hello Booktube, welcome to the Read What You Own challenge. A month ago approximately, or maybe a bit more, I said that I was going to join the 500 book challenge, and that's because I only ever heard about the Read What You Own challenge through Michael K. Vaughan, who last year proposed himself to read 500 books, and I said that's crazy. I definitely don't have 500 books. But then throughout the summer, going through the different places in which I have all my books stored, I realized that I have approximately 500 books. Of course, among those books there is a lot that I have already read, but there is a lot that I haven't read. So I've been thinking, and as I was thinking a few weeks after I made that video, considering to read what I own, Criminoli started a challenge called the Read What You Own challenge. And that sounds like much more adaptable as a challenge than the 500 book challenge, which would almost mean for me that I would have to buy more books in order to have 500 books to read that I haven't read from the books that I already have. But as I was sort of like watching the different videos from the Read What You Own challenge, I came across a couple of videos talking about the rules of engagement. And I'm not a big fan of rules of engagement or rules in general, but if someone is gonna put the rules, that's gotta be me. So first, there's Read by Fred, which is a new channel. I didn't know. It's not a new channel. It's new to me. I didn't know about Read by Fred. Made a rules of engagement video. Very lax, very laid back. You know, the final goal of the video was to have fun with the challenge, which I think the final goal of reading is to have fun, but with a challenge the final goal is to complete the challenge. And then Steve Donaghy made a video response to this video, turning upside down the whole idea of the rules of engagement and putting very harsh rules on the readers. And I couldn't be less. You have the thesis, you have the antithesis, and I am the synthesis. So I've been here to bring you the negation of the negation, the ultimate rules of engagement for the Read What You Own challenge. I will link in the description every previous video about this topic. And so the way I think that it makes more sense to approach this challenge, if you are doing it because you consider it a meaningful goal, that there's like a reason to do it, right? Is first of all, choose a number in relation to your own context, which is for you the edge between okay and too much. How much is too many books, right? So in my case, my top of books that I'm gonna allow myself to have, I'm not gonna say ever, but at least at this present time, is 500. I happen to have around that number. 500 is 5 times the amount of books that I can carry on my hiking backpack. And as some of you might know from watching some of my videos, I don't have a house, a specific place where I live. I camp, I hike, I move from one place to another one. Yesterday I was in a sailboat. Today I'll be in the mountains. The next day I'll be in an apartment next to my university because I'm studying, and the day after I'll be somewhere else. So 5 times the amount of books that I can carry on a hiking backpack. In 100 is a lot for a backpack. Is already a lot. It's a lot more than I can afford. Yet 500 in terms of booktube is not much. Having 500 books is having a very healthy amount of books, and I'm planning to have a place in which to have them not far from now. Which I'll talk more about that in the future, because I could be making a new kind of content about how I'm gonna be building my own mountain hut in North Spain, but that is not book related, and is definitely not the Read What You Own challenge related. So so once you've chosen that number, I'm giving you the example 500, but maybe you have a house, you are established, you have a lot more money than I have, you have a steady income, or you are already retired. Maybe your number is 5,000. I don't know. But once you have that number, now take all the books that you haven't read, and just write down that number. How many books do you have from that total amount of books that you haven't read? Now, if the total, of course, if the total number of books that you have is more than the number that you set as a limit, then you need to get rid of all the books, all the books that are sort of like beyond that limit. You'll have to select and get rid of those even before starting the Read What You Own challenge, so that you are starting on a number that for you is the right amount of books to have. Now, after that, and this is where I am gonna disagree with Steve. You can still, within the Read What You Own challenge, you can still accept books, buy books, get books, and any other way that you have of acquiring books. How is that possible if we are doing the Read What You Own challenge? Well, because the only rule is that the total amount of books that you own cannot be more than the number that you have set on step number 1. Which is to say that if I have 500 books and I see 10 books today that I want, I have to find 10 books that I already have and get rid of them. And by get rid, it doesn't mean throw them in the bin. It means find a new welcoming place for them to be read by other people. If you do that, then you can get 10 books and 10 and 20 and 200. Of course, the more books you keep getting while you're doing the Read What You Own challenge, the longer it will take you to finish the challenge. This could be a never-ending challenge. For me, it might be, because I am not planning to have more than 500 books anyways. But the point is that you don't exceed the total amount of 500 books, and you don't accumulate for the sake of it. You have the books that you want to have, the books that you are reading, and the books that you are sort of engaged with. You don't have books that you got like 5 years ago when you were interested in gardening and now you don't care about it anymore. Okay, so I feel like that rule gets much more at the... I have here some notes. I feel like that rule gets much more at the heart of the idea of the Read What You Own challenge, because you don't want to stop reading, you just want to stop accumulating ceaselessly and without a purpose things that you don't even know if you want anymore. So a book comes in, book comes out, within that range. Now, one last point in relation to the Read What You Own challenge and the rules, a disagreement between Fred and Steve, and here I am on Fred's side. You can DNF a book. You can DNF as many books as you want. I don't know what is that, so that whole thing about penitence, I think it has probably something to do with having studied with the Jesuits, but I'm no Christian and I'm not gonna read a book through some sort of penitence or to punish myself or anything like that. If you have a book and it was a bad decision to buy it and back in the day, you will know in the moment you start reading it. If you are halfway through the book and all you're gonna do is vomit, you get rid of the book, you DNF the book. Of course, it doesn't count towards and this is the part where I don't agree with Fred, it doesn't count towards the final goal, which is having read all the books that you own. It doesn't count because you will take that book, you will give it to someone else, and then another book will fill its place at some point. But you are not forced to read the whole book, because why would you, you know? I think this rule of Steve's is very contradictory with his mantra of you have about 5 seconds to live. So no, DNF as much as you want, as long as when you DNF the book, you don't put it back on yourself, and you don't count it sort of like as one book that has been read, because it hasn't. You just give it to someone else, and in time that space will be filled by another book. Yeah, so that is it. Once you have finished, in 1 year, in 2 years, in 3 years, in 1 month, you have finished the Read What You Own challenge. You will have read whatever number you set yourself to having read, and you will have the perfect amount of books that you have set for yourself as the perfect amount of books to have, and you will know every single one of those books. Then you can rethink about your boundaries and what you're gonna do. If you had 5,000 books and you were reading for half a decade, and now you have read your 5,000 books, and you feel like now that you have read those 5,000, you could get rid of 1,000, get rid of 1,000. If you feel like you could go up to 10,000 because you have a mansion of a house, then read 10,000. Then allow yourself to continue to get books and just read them at your own pace, or maintain the Read What You Own challenge, but setting a new goal of 10,000. Which means that within this challenge you can still expand the amount of books that you have in the present. It is all about having the right amount of books for you, which is gonna be different for everyone. I don't think my amount of books is gonna change much, and I don't think deadlines make much sense because some people read a book a day and some people read a book a year. I have been both kinds of people. The first on 2022, I read 150 books. This year, I think I will have read around 75-80 books in total. Probably next year I will read less books than this year. So it doesn't make sense for me to say I have 200 or 300 books left to read to get to my 500 total amount of books. That's the limit. I could say set an average of 100 books a year within the Read What You Own challenge. So if you have 1,000 books, you have 10 years to finish the challenge. But it doesn't make much sense. I don't think it works that way, because one year you will read 200 and the next year you will read 20. So yeah, I think that is all. And of course, the goal is not to have fun, as Fred said, but it's also it's also not to escape the thunder of Steve's contempt. It's to stop endless accumulation. It's to stop taking part of a societal compulsion that we all share in one way or another if we live within the system or this plastified set of axioms that we call civilization. So it's to have self-control. It's to not be controlled by our compulsions, by our or by someone else's, by anything. It's to choose what you want to read and read that. You choose what you want to have and have that. To not anchor yourself to a place, or to not have the capacity to move, or to basically put things that are just burdens on yourself, when you could have the right amount of books and be reading the right book at the right time. And also, of course, to give books a new home. If you have a book that's been sitting in yourself for 2 years and you haven't read it, that's a book, that's waste that you are creating. That is waste. That is wrong. You should, if you are not going to read a book that you have in yourself, you should give it to someone who will. And you should make it your goal to find someone that will read that book and enjoy it. And that is my Read What You Own rules of engagement for this wonderful challenge. Thank you so much for watching me, and good luck. I'll see you on the other side.